Buckaroos. You know, I'm doing my thing. Me and my boy, we're reading Hidden History, and you know, he's watching his Dominion. And freaking guys, we're thinking about JFK Jr. crash, right? JFK Jr.'s plane went, and as it was getting to the airport, as it called and like, you know, was saying, hey, we're coming in for a landing, that is when the plane went down. And there are reports of people seeing like an explosion, and then dude, it takes a straight up nosedive. Okay, watch John Hankey talk about how JFK Jr.'s plane went down.
You can't really kill yourself by turning off the fuel selector valve, but you can kill yourself by grabbing the controls and pushing them violently forward, throwing your plane into the sea at 200 miles per hour. This radar analysis is part of the NTSB report. It's buried at page 321 of the report.
Look at
one of the
that.
most basic and important pieces of the evidence in any investigation. Any news hound who wanted to could have gotten a look at it. This line shows the tail end of the plane's very gradual descent from 5,500 to 2,200 feet. Kennedy had not yet contacted the tower at this point, and FAA regulations require that you contact the tower before descending below 2,500 feet. So, being the meticulous pilot that he was, John brought the plane back up to 2,500 feet and contacted the tower. We don't know how long that conversation lasted, but if it lasted 1 minute, as soon as it was over, the plane began a catastrophic plunge into the sea. The conclusion seems obvious, doesn't it? It doesn't seem to matter what view you look at, south to north or east to west. It does not appear to be an accident or crash. It certainly looks as though someone on that plane decided to commit suicide the fun way, with a bunch of other people. There's no spiral to be detected in these depictions of the radar evidence. There's no disorienting movement of the plane of any kind. No one was able to find any evidence in the wreckage of an explosion, fire, or other catastrophe. It appears then as though someone grabbed the controls of the plane and pushed them violently forward. How could the NTSB have missed this? How is it not worth mentioning as a possibility? How did the sharks in the media not go nuts over this blood-red evidence of more Kennedy self-destruction? I don't know, but those aren't really the questions I'm trying to answer here. You see, I'm still hung up on that freaking fuel valve.
Okay, so then, you know, I'm looking through my book, right? And I knew about this dude, Paul Wellstone. Oh, wait, back to the computer for a second. I gotta show you this first. Dudes, I think our freaking ticket is this gosh dang, all these flights that have gone down over the years. This is how we prove this. So, dude, I'm gonna go through all these because most of them, bro, I swear to God, they're like this. Was suing a pharmaceutical company. Kobe was. Did you guys know that? But I've only gotten through a couple so far, but this is one of the people that I knew of that HW frickin' nailed him, right? And dude, look at how many. These are just the ones that I've already put in. That's Flight 93 people. They're all like, look, Oracle Corporation, Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of the Thorstat Corporation, Marketing Executive, Astronaut, Founder and CTO of Akamai, and then a bunch of defense contractors. But dude, so many of these are literally accidents done by the CIA, I think. So we need to go through, we need to prove, or, you know, look at all these, because when you look at these things individually, they're all fishy. So you have to know the totality of the evidence to be able to see this, which is why, like, dude, it's so vast what they're doing, their conspiracy. But anyway, so I had already remember hearing Paul Wellstone, and I'm reading through freaking Hidden History, guys, and they literally did the same exact thing that I just showed you they did to JFK to Paul Wellstone. Look at this shit. Okay, one of the Bush administration's strongest critics was Minnesota Senator Paul Wellstone. Shortly before his death, Wellstone met with Vice President Dick Cheney, who was trying to garner support for an all-out invasion of Iraq. Wellstone graphically described the tenor of this meeting in a speech to war veterans shortly thereafter when he said Cheney had warned him, if you vote against the war in Iraq, the Bush administration will do whatever is necessary to get you. There will be severe ramifications for the state of Minnesota. On October 25th, 2002, Wellstone faced those severe ramifications. Wellstone was killed along with his wife and daughter when his plane crashed in northern Minnesota while en route to a funeral. Questions immediately arose about the nature of the crash, especially considering that Wellstone had been the Senate's leading progressive voice. The NTSB, our fucking worst enemy. The NTSB needs to rot, guys. We're going to destroy the NTSB if it's the last thing we do, okay? But the NTSB would blame pilot error in the crash. There's so much pilot error. I feel like you guys shouldn't let these pilots be pilots, you know? Like, frick. And also, all these unsafe pilots and all these unsafe planes, like, I feel like everyone needs to know, all celebrities should know that they have like a significantly higher chance of dying in a plane crash than civilians, right? They should know this. They got to know the risks of being a celebrity. You'll never believe this. The FBI's recovery team actually left to investigate the crash before the plane even went down. Emergency workers were denied access to the plane. That's what they did with JFK for 15 and a half hours. They wouldn't let anyone go to the plane, and they also wouldn't even send search and rescue. Dude, they wouldn't let anyone see it. They hid everything. The plane was supposedly at the bottom of the ocean and in like a billion pieces. It's nutty. There's a fourth person that was supposed to be on the plane, but I'm talking about JFK Jr. here. But there was a fourth person that was supposed to be on the plane, and then they said, nope, there isn't. We lied about that. He didn't have a flight instructor. But there was a whole lot of reports about there being a fourth person before then. So it's like, who was that, right? Yeah, emergency workers denied access while it was burning for hours afterwards. 2 Democratic members of Congress told them that they believe WELLSTONE had been murdered. I don't think there's anyone on the Hill who doesn't suspect it. Awesome. For some still unexplained reason, the plane turned off course and crashed. Carol Carmody's, the NTSB's acting chair, meaning acting liar, was quoted in the article as saying, "We find the whole turn curious." Actually, I'm surprised she said that. It is curious. But I wonder if it's... We're going to have to go look and see how the plane crashed and look at what the flight path looked like, if we have one, like what we have for JFK, or yeah, JFK Jr. But yeah, so it's so funny that the team left before the plane even crashed. But yeah, so the way that they describe it, Don Cipolla, a former president of the Eveleth, Virginia Municipal Airport Commission, believed that something caused WELLSTONE's plane to veer off course. This was a real steep bank, not a nice, gentle, don't spill the coffee descent. This is more like a space shuttle coming down. This was not a controlled descent into the ground. WELLSTONE's pilots had contacted the airport, had the landing strip in sight, and were only 2 miles away at the time of the last communication. Bro, literally JFK Jr. was going to land. What does this mean? Dude, it's the exact same plan that they used on JFK. Why do they wait till they get to the airport? I don't get it. That makes it feel to me like... Is it just to be like, let you think you're going to get there and then at the last minute ruin your, take your life? Like, I could see HW being that, like, petty and, like, vindictive and whatever, like, whatever's gonna hurt them the hardest, But otherwise, it's like, is it like the laser thing is at the airport? Do all of our airports have a freaking laser or something that can just shoot planes out of the sky? I'm going to need to know more about that. A congressperson literally said, this is a quote, "There are people in the White House who wake up each morning thinking about how to defeat Paul Wellstone." Look at how many people H.W. Bush and Dick Cheney took out just to get Paul Wellstone. Because he was telling the truth. Bro, did you know the NTSB puts all of their lies in 100-page documents and then release it to the public? Look. This is Paul Wellstone's flight report. The NTSB determines that the probable cause of this accident was the flight crew's failure to maintain adequate airspeed, which led to an aerodynamic stall from which they did not recover. Bro, planes can glide. This says something caused his plane. It was a real steep bank. Not nice. Guess what? They don't have a 3D map like they had for the JFK Jr. one, and that's probably because they don't want people to see. That's because I don't think they want people to see. Look, it's so confusing too. Like, why don't you just make a 3D representation of it? Why is this graph moving from right to left? Because look, dudes, this is him coming down for his descent, and then he's supposed to go to the airport, the runway here. But look, he just goes boom, straight down. Like they get to here and then tip nose down. What the fuck is happening?